Hi guys, I'm so sorry for being gone for so long. I think I have not posted anything in 3 or 4 months. I've been really busy. I just graduated from university and I am now interning at a magazine, and I just have not had the time to myself. I have been reading a lot. I have finished 6 books over the past 3 months. I guess that's not a lot. I've been trying to squeeze my reading time for myself like a couple of hours a day, but sometimes I'm just tired, and because of the recent release of Diablo 3, I have not had a lot of time to do anything else but play, Diablo 3. I'm a nerd, I'm a geek. I just had to concentrate on leveling up and whatever. Today, I just wanted to talk about a few of the books that I've read. So I wanted to talk to you guys about The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodgkin, and Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. I have read also Red Pyramid by Ricky Riordan and Knife of Never Letting Go and The Ask and the Answer by Patrick Ness. But I am doing the Chaos Walking trilogy in one go because I'm currently reading Monsters and Men, and it's amazing, and I want to go through the 3 books at once because it's just, mind-blowing. And I don't think I want to talk about Red Pyramid anymore. It didn't really impact me. And before I start my reviews, yes, my hair is brown again. That's how long I have not posted a video. Shame. The first book I'm going to review, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. The Fault in Our Stars is the most recent book of John Green, and it is by far the best, I think, for me, and I give it 5 out of 5 stars for sure. Pretty sure, because this is so late that you already know what The Fault in Our Stars is about, so I just want to talk about my thoughts. So let's talk about the plot. You know how John Green writes, right? I mean, if you're a John Green fan like I am, you already know how he writes. And he usually talks about something really deep, but because of his writing style and humor and wittiness, he's very clever with that stuff, with wordplay. And so the topic of cancer and The Fault in Our Stars was really lighter than it actually is. Like in the book Looking for Alaska, it's about death, but he was able to make it light, keep it funny, but at the same time you feel for the characters. So that's one thing that I really like about John Green. And the pace of The Fault in Our Stars is really steady, not too slow, not too fast, which I really liked. Each chapter just made me want to read and read. I think I read this in one sitting, if I remember correctly. And the only thing I could say about this that maybe isn't positive is that I didn't like the ending too much because I wanted to know what happened next to Hazel, because I thought it ended abruptly, and I think it's like a metaphor for the book she really likes. This book, An Imperial Affliction, really impacted Hazel in a lot of ways, and in the book it ended abruptly, and in The Fault in Our Stars it ended quite the same, not really similar, but metaphorically, I think it just symbolized how life is so short. So let's talk about the characters. Hazel Lancaster, she's an amazing character. She's so strong and brave, and she's funny and sarcastic, and I like that in female protagonists. And for the first time, John Green writes a book and the narrator is female. That's really different from what he's done, but the wittiness and the funny elements that he puts in there in his writing, it's still there, and I love it. I really enjoy his writing style immensely, and right now he's like one of my favorite authors along with J.K. Rowling. I also want to talk about Augustus Waters. He is the lead male protagonist in the story, and he's such an amazing character. He's an aloof guy, but deep down, he was just really more than that. People are so serious about cancer, and he tries to make it light for him, for Hazel, for his friends, and he's just really a selfless person. I mean, he just tried to make Hazel as happy as she could be, and I really admire that in people, selflessness, because, it's really hard to find. They really had a good relationship. There were no arguing about really small things, and I guess it's because they know that their lives are really short. They really loved each other, and because of their cancer, they just learned how to seize every opportunity and moment together and life in general. They really didn't go through that courting and coy stuff that usually goes on these books, especially when it is told in the female perspective. And I just like that because I'm kind of tired of having to read female protagonists going on and on about who they love and if they love them, and they just knew. Hazel and Augustus just knew that they were meant for each other and that they love each other. And there's just an unexplainable emotional attachment between them that I really, really liked. I mean, it's really hard to describe if you haven't read it. Their love is so simple, but at the same time, it's really pure. John Green's writing is impeccable. It's amazing. You know, he forms words with these paragraphs and you just feel emotion just oozing out of every page. I really think it's John Green's best book yet. The second book I wanted to talk about is The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. I don't have the book with me right now because I lent it to my friend who just read it. Booktubers always said that they can't give away the summary of the premise of the book because they're giving too much away, but I don't think that's true because I can see that the book is about a girl named Mara Dyer who got into an accident with her friends and she's the lone survivor. She wakes up in a hospital after being in a coma in 3 days and she doesn't remember anything of the accident. Her family moves to Miami and the plot, takes off from there. Just a lot of adventure, weird stuff. It's a paranormal book. People don't say that, but it is. I have to tell you that it is because I was so shocked. No one talked about it in their reviews and people just kept praising it. When it came to the paranormal stuff, I was like, what's happening? I didn't know it had these elements to it, and I was just completely taken aback and surprised. I mean, it's not in a bad way. The story is very interesting. I mean, the plot is very interesting. I've never read a book that the main character had post-traumatic stress disorder before, and it's quite nice to understand how the condition works because Michelle Hodkin really goes into it, how trauma, goes in someone's mind. And the content of the book is heavier than I thought it would be because it was really about death, and death is always an interesting topic or element in any book. Maybe the reason why I'm not as impressed with this book as a lot of people is because I think it would have been like a mind-blowing ending if everything was just a dream and she was back in the hospital in Rhode Island, and that would have blown my mind completely. I would have really, really enjoyed the book if it was all just like a dream, like when she was in the coma, but it wasn't, so, that's not a spoiler. And I just really found the book kind of confusing because, like I said, just paranormal stuff coming in and out, and then suddenly, just the ending, I just don't know what, for the last few chapters, I really didn't know what was happening at all, so that completely threw me off. The book got me hooked fast, there's no doubt about it. The first few pages, you just want to know what happened, but the whole story, you actually do not know what happened. It's probably the latter half of the book that you kind of get glimpses and pieces of what happened, and I guess that's fine, but it was told in a very confusing manner, so I really, really did not like that part. I just wasn't as into it as a lot of the booktubers who already reviewed it, but I can't wait to read the next book because the ending was such a cliffhanger. So let's talk about characters. Mara Dyer, although she's interesting, I couldn't help but feel like she's a typical girl protagonist who everyone saw as pretty, but she herself didn't see it. And, she sees herself as a broken, damaged girl, like every other girl protagonist in a lot of books. And I get it, she has post-traumatic stress disorder, but, Noah is the lead male protagonist, and I kind of felt like he was such a generic character already. The guy who's so popular in school falls in love with a new girl, and this new girl's being bullied. It's all the same, and I really didn't like that aspect. I did like Jamie, however. He is Mara's first friend in Miami, and he's such a nice and funny character, and I wish we could have seen more of him because you actually don't know what happens to him after a while. He just goes away and you don't know what happens, and he was the best character in the book, so I was kind of disappointed about that. For the writing style, I loved you know, how Michelle Hodgkin wrote everything, except sometimes it was kind of confusing. And the last few chapters, I saw two grammatical errors, which is a big, big, big no-no to me because I really, really don't know why that happens because, you know, there are a lot of... So I think I'll give The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer 3 out of 5. And I'm sorry for everyone who loves this book because I just... I feel like so many people just are into this book so much. The last book I want to talk about today is Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. And this is actually an adult book, and I wasn't expecting to enjoy it because at first I was kind of bored because, you know, it's kind of heavy, but it blew me away. This book, 5 out of 5 for sure. How Sarah Gruen describes things and how the plot unfolds, it's at a steady pace, and I liked every chapter of it. It draws you in. It shifts from two points of views, from the old Jacob Jankowski and the young Jacob Jankowski. Both storylines were worth reading, and I loved savoring every word and every page. So let's talk about characters. I think this book has a lot of rich characters. Let's talk about Jacob Jankowski. He's such a complex character. You see him as a youngster, and you see him when he's 93. He's an amazing person, and he has so much heart and soul that he just moved me, you know? And the funny thing here is that I never expected him to be an interesting aspect of the book at all. I didn't find him very interesting in the first half of the book, but at the latter half I was just so hooked, and I began rooting for him in every possible way, and his love for animals and Merlina just blew me away. I thought it was just, I don't know, it was fantastic. Now let's talk about Merlina Lark. She's feisty and dainty and just like how women really were in the 30s, and she's actually one of the female protagonists that I liked because, you know, she's brave and courageous and she speaks her mind. She's not a pushover, and she cares for her horses and Rosie. She's an animal person, and I'm an animal person, so I could relate to her. August and Uncle Al, they are... I hate them. I really can't stand animal cruelty, and in the book, they were the ones who were actually for it because they wanted to train the animals and they didn't care what the animals were going through. They just wanted a show. It made me sad when I was reading it, and you know that Sarah Gruen's such a great author because she provoked so many emotions out of me. Like, I was so mad, and you know, that's really hard to find in an author. Writing-wise, I mean, this is one of the most well-written books I've ever read. And the research on this book is phenomenal. I mean, she researched on a lot of circus stuff in the 30s, and that's just, like, it's clean. It's very clean. The storyline, the plot, the facts. I'm glad I decided to read this book because, you know, there were a lot of books in my shelf, and I thought, let's get this. I just want to read this book because I've had it for a while, and I'm just so glad that I did. You guys have to read it. It's amazing. So that's it. This was a pretty long video. I had a lot to say, obviously, because, you know, I've been gone for a while. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.